What's going on, guys? I'm Tyler, and in continuing my series of Disney movie reviews, I'm here to let you know that Bambi is no perfect movie. And it follows a year in the life of a young deer fawn named Bambi, along with his best friends Thumper and Flower, from the day he's born to the moment he becomes a full-grown adult. That was the easiest Disney movie to sum up, and that's kind of the beauty of Bambi. It's a movie that's not necessarily plot-driven, and the majority of the entertainment value comes from the atmosphere and just watching the characters interact with each other and go about their daily lives. It doesn't really sound that exciting on paper, but Bambi is so effective at reminding us through watching animals and nature, reminding us of moments of our own childhood and what it's like to grow up, to the point where you can relate to and identify with these characters even at their most cartoonish. A scene can be as simple as the last two leaves on a tree about to fall as winter starts. And there are three things in particular that make scenes like that just as engaging as seeing animals be cutesy and interact with each other. The first and most obvious example is the animation, which draws the characters in much more realistic designs, but they still maintain a lot of facial expressions and a lot of vibrant color to keep us engaged in what we're watching on screen. Second, the musical score is very good at picking which scenes to go loud, bombastic, and have these really epic choirs in the background, or which moments require much more softer, quieter pieces of music with less instruments. And third, and this is the big one out of all of them, the pacing. Every scene, no matter how big or small it is drawn out much more longer than we're used to in order to really soak in what these characters are going through at the moment. And it's what makes us identify with and root for them, especially when something dangerous is happening. And the characters alone are just so likable in their simplicity that it's easy to latch onto them, especially Bambi. He always has this wide-eyed innocence about him from beginning to end, but as he becomes older and he has less people to depend upon, for various reasons, one of them everyone watching probably already knows about, he has to become a lot stronger physically and emotionally, and you believe for every second that he's evolving more and more and becoming his own, I don't want to say man, his own person. And Thumper is a funny sidekick that reminded me of friends that I had when I was a kid who said things in such an unfiltered and blunt manner, but never in a mean-spirited way. He's a character who wants to help out, wants to be a really good friend, but he's not afraid to hide the fact that you're making mistakes while you're doing that. He has this, in a strange way, this big brotherly relationship with Bambi that I believed the second the two of them met each other. And as for Bambi's mom, she is the first in a never-ending list of dead Disney parents, and her especially has been talked about for so much that when it does happen and you're watching it for the first time, you're not really going to feel anything because it's been made fun of so much, and especially with the way the movie transitions from her dying to the very next scene where it's spring, everything is bright and beautiful, and everybody's singing la 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 la, and I laughed. I laughed my ass off because that just really was a terrible segue, but it doesn't really change the fact that Bambi's mom was a loving and supporting mom who was tough but fair. Now, as for problems, Flower was a character that I don't think had enough screen time because given that he's a skunk and he hibernates, there are a lot of scenes where it's just Bambi and Thumper, and those scenes still work. But once they grow older and Flower comes back to them, I didn't really feel the bond as much as I felt that we should have, because he didn't really get that much time. And don't take this the wrong way, I don't mean this as an insult, but it took me a while to realize that Flower was a he. And look, I have no problem with that, but the voice actors that they got to play him and the way they draw him as having this really coy smile towards Bambi all the time, it was really hard to buy him as a boy from the very beginning. He had this kind of feminine voice, and like I said, they keep giving him the googly eyes. I don't want to sound like an asshole, but the movie's not really giving me that many reasons not to be. The other problem is that there are some shots where characters will stand completely still, but as the camera moves forward, they start to fidget a lot, kind of like how something goes blurry on a computer. And I get why that happened. It was a tough time for Disney during World War II. They had to save on money, and there were going to be some glitches, but the glitches are still there, and they're very noticeable. Bambi is a movie that so many people have heard of, but very few people even remember, let alone seen. And honestly, that's a shame, because even though it is a bit of a slow burn, the animation, the music, and the engaging coming-of-age story with these characters who are so likable because of how easy it is to relate to them, it makes for one of Disney's surprisingly most underappreciated, despite the fact that it's been considered a classic for years. And even Walt Disney has flat out said it's one of my favorite movies I've ever worked on. And the effort clearly goes to show, and for all those reasons, I'm gonna give Bambi a 4 out of 5. Guys, thanks as always for watching. If you've seen Bambi, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Be sure to stay tuned for more Disney reviews, and be sure to like and subscribe. Take care.